Hello everyone, it's Dan here from Thomas Reader Support. In this video we're going to continue looking at the custom blocks available within Jumpstart for WordPress. So to begin with, if we look back at our test page, if you recall in the last video we covered up to the inner section block, so we're going to continue now with the map block. Now I'm going to head over to our demo, the contact page here, which has a map block set up for us. And if we look in the settings, you can see here we've got an area for the API key, which you do need to sign up for. It is free of charge, but you do need one of those to access Google Maps. From there you can apply a divider like we've got here to give it a nice rounded edge. You can control the colour of the divider, the address, etc., as well as even the marker details which appear when you click on the map marker. Just below here you can pop in your own code from Snazzy Maps if you want to style the map in a particular way. And you can even give yourself a custom marker image as well. Now if we head back to our test page here, we'll carry on with the next block, which is the modal here. I'm just going to pop one in. Now first of all, you'll see you've got an option for the size of the modal, which is just generally the content. You've got a positioning for it, so you can have the modal appear at the top of the window or centered. You can pick a background as well as the text color, so if you for instance want to use a dark background, you can make the text white on top. You can specify an image. This can be used either as the background or the side image. You can specify the padding as well as the label for the button as well. So if you want this to say something like that, then that's totally up to you. I'll just put in some random text here for the modal content. That'll be fine. And down here you'll see you've got an area for the unique ID. Now the reason you may want to use this is if you wanted to trigger this modal from another link, then you can do so. Now what I mean by that, if I give you an example, so this modal ID here, we can see we've got here, we can hide the button here by checking this box, and we can then use a different link or button such as this one at the top to trigger the modal. So to demonstrate, I'll just head into our theme options here, and in that button in the top there we'll give the modal link as we want. Okay, so you see we've got their hash and then the modal ID. Okay, now that's done. If we open up our page, which contains the modal, as you can see here, although the button is hidden. So if we click a link, you can see it now triggers the modal there. Moving on to the next block, we've got the single testimonial here, so I'll just begin by dropping this into the page, and we're going to give it the image, which would usually be the user or author image for the testimonial. We'll add some nice content here. I'll just grab some random text, I'll just pop that in there, we'll give it the name, and there we go. Obviously you can repeat the process as you want. You can obviously put them into smaller columns if you wish. It's totally up to you. Next up, we've got the section decoration block. Now this is quite a bit like the inner decoration, however this is designed more for overall sections. So let me just drop one in and you can see what I mean. So we'll just start by adding one here. We'll go for the top right. Now you will notice it may look a bit strange at first in the Elementor page builder, just because these are difficult background elements to render. So if you were to check the actual page itself when you update, you can see the result there. And of course if you wanted to, you can add a couple of these to a section. It's really up to you. And moving on, I'll just get rid of this here. We've got the tab and the HTML tab. Now the reason there are two versions, some of the more complex internal things where you want particular images or something a bit custom like we use in the demo, then you're going to need to use HTML to do that. So we have a tab version for that. Or if you want to use regular text, then that's also possible here too. So let's drop this in, and we'll choose the regular tabs to begin with. Some intro text, we'll fill this in just so you can see what it is. And we'll start by adding a few tabs here. And just simply keep adding them and giving them a unique title. And just repeat as you wish. Now you will notice the intro text we've popped here isn't actually appearing, and that's because that only appears in the vertical tab layout, as you can see here. So if you can put in some descriptive text about what's appearing in the tabs on the right if you wish. And the HTML version is exactly the same, however you can use HTML in this area to create something a bit more bespoke. Now we'll move on to the Testimonial Carousel. This is again something we can choose full width. And I'll just start by adding the author here. I'll put in some random blurb. And the author role is obviously the person's name, so I'll just put in there. Okay. And you'll see there in the full width layout we just use the image and the text, as it were. Although we're not getting the full effect, I'll just clone this here so you can see how this looks. See there, we've got a nice carousel. This is one of the blocks as well. You may prefer to have it full width like we do in the demo, so of course back in the section settings you can go to the content width and set that to full width and no gap. And that'll have it stretch right the way from edge to edge. And if we look at the other layout, the single card, as you can see it does differ slightly in that it shows just a single item rather than a few in a row. And of course you probably wouldn't want to use this in the full width section like we've got here. So to give you kind of a more realistic example, let's take a copy of this and pop it in here instead. And you can see there, it looks a bit more appropriate in that layout. Moving on, I think to the last one we'll cover in this video, we've got the team posts. This, as the name suggests, is much like the blog post area, except it shows a feed of your recent team members. You can obviously choose how many you want to display, as well as the overall layout as well. Okay, I'm going to stop this here before this video goes on a bit too long. In the next one we'll cover the remaining blocks. However, I do hope this has been useful. If you do have any questions, do come see me over at support. Other than that, thanks for watching and have fun with your theme.